Oh my god. Make sure I can't see this. Cap, love.
I
All right.
actually have a microphone, but it's kind of garbage. So either way,
The audio is not going to be the best because I'm using my computer, so it's all good. Oh, this is weird.
yeah.
I had to introduce. Okay, hi. All right. Welcome back to my channel today. My name is Audrey. If you're new here, today we are going to be doing a video about the best and worst. Why am I getting a call? Okay. Okay. Today we are going to be doing a video about the best and worst movie musicals because there are some pretty bad ones. And I am joined by one of my best friends, Olivia, who is a lovely singer, actor, other multi-talented human being.
Wow.
So yeah, we're just gonna go through the a lot of the movie musicals that are out. There are a lot that are still in development hell that haven't seen the light of day, so we can't talk about those yet. Although I have a feeling that like some of them are. You have a feeling that some of them are going to be bad because I just have a feeling.
Just automatically.
I feel like Wicked is whenever that does come out, it's going to be bad.
I honestly forgot they were doing that, and because I thought it was a joke.
Where should we start? Should we start with something newer?
Yeah, should we start with something new and then make it around to a classic?
Yeah, so I think we should just. I mean, we can do it how you want, but basically, it's like we just throw one out and then whether it's good or bad, and then kind of talk about it a little bit.
Do you want to start by talking about Jersey Boys because we watched it like.
We did just watch Jersey Boys. Yeah, Jersey Boys came out in maybe 2016, 2017, something around there. I definitely saw it in theaters. I don't think I was old enough to get into it. So it must have come out when I was in high school because it was rated R. And I remember, I think I had to get an adult to sign off on seeing it. Yeah, so Jersey Boys is interesting. It's one of the shows I haven't seen live, so I can't compare it in that way. There's a lot of shows like that. So there's a lot of ones we'll talk about that I've seen the movie first and was like, this is great. And then I saw the show and it just didn't hold up. But Jersey Boys, I think in categories, if it's like great, good, not good,
yeah,
like I think it's great. I think it holds up. It's cast really well. They have actual Broadway people in it, other than what is it? Other than one of them who was in Boardwalk Empire, which I think works because it's like mafia-ish. But no, Jersey Boys is great. There are issues I have with it, but mostly it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I also haven't seen the live show. Starting off really great. But yeah, I think that it's really well performed, which is sort of what we're asking for wrestling. Like, I think like what happens a lot of times we'll get into this is like the directors or whatever when they're developing a movie musical are sort of like, well, we can bank on the fact that if we use this one mainstream performer, they don't have to be that good at singing because we can edit all of that stuff, and that's something that you can't do with live musicals. But here you make a good point, like they actually cast a whole almost all of the main cast was either had been in Jersey Boys at some point, either regionally, a national tour, or on Broadway, or just like they happen to be really good singers and actors who are good at their craft and stuff like that. So I think that all shines through. So whether or not the story is great is sort of separate from whether it was performed really well. But I think in both cases it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it really just depends on what you like. Like if you're not into that sort of music, you're not gonna like Jersey.
Yeah, it's already.
If you're not really interested in Frankie Valli, you're not really gonna. It's a literal biopic musical, and people feel certain ways about biopics in general. So biopic musicals. That being said, we can't really talk about. We're not going to talk about movie musicals that aren't on stage. So like we can't talk about Rocket Man although I
Oh,
man, we're not going to really talk about Moulin Rouge, although it's kind of the opposite because it was a musical after. Um, but yeah, so some of that's weird. Like Greatest Showman is not a stage show; it's just a movie
true.
musical. I
Wow.
never even saw it, but
Me either.
I'm not really that big on Hugh Jackman, if I'm honest.
I feel that. I actually, speaking of cats, my cat is screaming outside the door. Let me just let her in real quick so we can
Okay,
kind of see.
Casey, do you hear her playing with the bottle cap?
I do. Is it now? Is it like a bottle cap?
Yeah.
Why do I recognize that sound? Come
She's
in.
gonna bat it out of the door. She did that last time. Did you know it's playtime
No.
when you're trying to film? It's playtime.
Did you know?
I'm
Also, just look at me, mommy time.
trying to think of
Okay.
it.
You better stay over there. Okay. A lot.
I don't know a lot of the shows that you've seen, so I don't want to always bring up shows that you
Yeah, I don't
haven't
know if you've
seen.
seen either. I just realized I
Seen
should
a-
have made a list.
I've seen quite. Yeah, we're unorganized. It's fine. I think probably the two I can think of right now, I both find pretty bad. So I'll go ahead and throw them out there.
I'm sure
So
I know what they are.
I think this video would be remiss if we did not talk about Les Miserables.
Okay.
This is one of those that's a book that then became a bunch of different movie adaptations and became a movie and it became a musical. And then 30 years later became a movie musical.
Yeah.
That was not. Uh, I've seen the movie that doesn't have any singing. That's pretty decent. It's a pretty
The
faithful
recent one, right? Or the older one?
Oh no, the older one. There is a new one that I think is in French. Like it's a French film
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
or
okay.
Spanish.
Maybe. I just know that Masterpiece. You call it Masterpiece Theater, whatever. The British. Yeah. They made like a series movie that makes sense. Like they had like three.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah. The
smart.
mini series. Yeah, I know what you're talking
It was
about.
pretty good. It was pretty good. But that was way after all the other ones anyway. So
Oh, Les Mis is like I feel like when you're in middle school, it's the show you're obsessed with. I don't know why. Oh, I can barely listen to it anymore just because I was so obsessed with it. But also the musical is so bad. The movie musical is so bad. Not the musical itself. The movie
yeah.
is so bad.
What are the big takeaways?
Oh, don't ever cast Russell Crowe to sing a song. I don't think Hugh Jackman works, and I think that's a really unpopular opinion, but his vocal style is like he's like I'm a showman, look at me. Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff he's cast in. I don't think he can play a serious like really dramatic role like that. It doesn't work for
I
me.
just don't. Yeah, I just don't think he was the right. I just don't think he was the right fit. I agree with that. I just think like he. I don't know. It's kind of a strange disconnect for me. And then when you add in, it's just like a strange combination of people. The more I think about
But,
it,
yeah, I thought Anne Hathaway was okay.
yeah, she's right. Yeah, yeah.
I thought when you have like Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter, they've been in stuff before.
Yeah, they're
They're
yeah
fine. I
they're
think
good.
they're fine. It's literally just like you have those two characters that can't work. We'll talk about her in a little bit, but I think Amanda Seyfried's not good in this at all.
I somehow feel like that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know how because I mean I also agree. I think it just goes along with those people who are like they're actors who can sing and singers who can act and people who do both equally well and not in this film they used a lot of people who were like maybe actors who could sing
Singing,
to make it that far.
singing live hurt this movie because that was their big thing. They wanted to sing live, and unless you have like Broadway actors, you know who it worked for? It worked for the Barricade Boys because they were all Broadway actors. So Aaron Tveit was fine.
Yeah,
I think that's well cast. I think all of the Barricade Boys are well cast. Oh, except I freaking forgot about Eddie Redmayne. I did not care for him.
I yeah no Well, like I think like he like kind of objectively like fits. He just looks like he's from that time period. So I remember seeing the commercials being like, yeah, this looks good.
Oh, and I think Samantha Barks versus Eponine, because she's been Eponine. She's not personally my favorite Eponine, but she's probably the most popular, so I guess that makes sense that they would have cast her. I mean, they could have gone so wrong there.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway's
Like, yeah,
okay.
Eponine is a controversial. Like people have a lot of opinions about people who sing Eponine. You're like, it's so even that is like a thing I don't even want to touch on. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can't remember a lot about certain vocal things that she did, but I mean, she's fine. She's like she's fine.
Singer, yeah,
Well,
she can sing. Like that's
there's a lot of background characters that are a bunch of West End actors that are in it, because I know a lot of the during turning to the where the women sing about the soldiers that died. Most of those people are Broadway actors. Also, have to point out the fact that one of the Barricade boys I saw in Miss Saigon, so very good.
oh,
Yeah, so Les Mis is just not good. I mean, watch the Barricade stuff. That stuff is decent. Drink with Me is a good scene. Gavroche is fine. He's just a little Cockney
yeah.
kid. Like,
I
yeah,
just yeah. There's nothing else to say. I mean, it's kind of like if you have already seen, like, say if you already saw the musical, the stage musical, it could be worth it for someone to, if they wanted to watch a movie adaptation. It's not. I mean, it's not like absolute garbage, but I mean, if you have 3 hours to spend, like you already know the music, but I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where it was supposed to be to introduce people to the story,
yeah,
newer people, and so for that purpose, maybe it was effective. But I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm lost on how to really.
Specifically, I feel the same way about the next one I want to talk about, which is Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah.
I saw the movie first, loved it, and then saw the stage show and started watching just different vocal comparisons. Actually, I think I saw it because they have the 25th anniversary uh, Royal Variety. It's not Royal Variety. It's at Royal Albert Hall. It's kind of the musical, but there are like no props. So
Yeah.
there's like a Les Mis concert, so it's not like a concert. It's the show with all the costumes, and
They're
there's
just singing with mics and stuff.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
some props, but there's not all of them. So it's not completely the stage show, and it has a bigger orchestra, so it's great for that. But the movie, oh, looking back at it, oh my gosh, I don't know. There's some things that I just don't understand at all. We've talked about it. It's not horrible, so I can't say it's horrible, but there's things I just don't understand about it.
Who was the Christine?
Emmy Rossum.
Yeah. Okay. And who did you see as? What did you see the musical? Who did you see as the? Do you remember the
In
singer?
the show,
Yeah.
I saw Samantha Hill.
Okay.
I've also seen a few others. What's her name? I see one who's like really young who keeps doing a lot of the Broadway stuff, and she's now in the world tour. Kaylee Ann Voorhees, I've seen her do Christine. I've seen a lot of the Christines because I was doing a lot of. I was obsessed with this show, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Christines. Um, but yeah, Samantha Hill being probably one of my favorites, and I think a lot of the UK, the West End actors, probably I like them a little better because they tend to cast operetta singers, and this show on Broadway they tend to cast musical theater people, which is fine. But
Yeah. But no, but you think that makes like a specific difference. This is also a like a divide for a lot of musicals. People are asking like,
yes,
is it better to have a specifically classical legit voice? And it's like, yeah, she's an opera singer.
Phantom.
But I can see why people say not. But yeah.
Phantom is necessary. I do think you can have a little bit of leeway with Christine because there's things that work, and I don't particularly like looking back like Emmy Rossum's tone. However, nothing that she does is bad. so I can't really say that. She lacks vibrato, which my brother actually talked about that he likes that. But I'm like, but if she's supposed to be an opera singer, it's very heavy in vibrato, and she is a light lyric soprano, so I think that works. Christine, a lot of the time, I've noticed like I don't like the original cast of Phantom either. I think Sarah Brightman is too heavy. She's not the right vocal type to play Christine. She's also too old, but the show was written for her, so I guess
Yeah,
whatever
it's kind
does
of
this.
input. Yeah.
I just think like that Emmy's fine. It's just she's not. It's not personal preference. I think Raoul is great. Patrick Wilson is great because guess what? He's a Broadway actor. Who's now he's now a movie actor, but he
Right.
was a Broadway actor. Um, Side note, it's really funny if you go back and watch him in Oklahoma because Oklahoma is just so silly. Um, you can find videos of him in Oklahoma.
I didn't know he was in that.
Who cast Gerard Butler though?
This is that thing
That's
where
the issue.
he was already like popular, but or was he just an unknown?
No,
That's so fascinating to me.
he was decently popular. I feel
Yeah.
like. I mean, he's a handsome dude, so I guess if
Yeah.
you have that stuff, like, he fits like look wise, it's fine. But it's just like, dude. But also, I feel like Michael Crawford wasn't the best singer either, and they cast him. So I just don't know. Maybe they did cast it fine compared to the original show. But I've just seen so many better Phantoms now that it's just like,
Yeah. Michael Crawford. How do you feel about his voice? This is what I was gonna say earlier. Yeah, a real interesting take.
I can't listen to the original Broadway cast. It drives me insane.
So interesting that's because now I think there's like a I don't know because he's like a tenor or like a light baritone, and like the way he approaches the vocals are so different from how a lot of people perform them now. We often cast like a lower baritone, like a lower placed voice. And I'm
I've
like, that's so interesting compared to the original.
I've seen so many. I've seen it different, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you have Ramin Karimloo, who's in the 25th anniversary, and is a very long running Phantom. Who is also Jean Valjean. So I think, and then you have Norm
Norm Lewis.
Norm Lewis, who
Again, like
also
a
has
deep
a similar
baritone.
deeper
Yeah.
vocal style. But I saw Peter. I think his name is Peter Joback, who's Swedish, and he sings in a higher tone. So he's more of a tenor Phantom. So they do cast differently.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I don't think they really switch it up with Christine's. They definitely
I
don't
was gonna
switch it up with
say
Raoul, but
no.
they do switch it up with Phantom, which I think is interesting. It keeps it thing. And I don't necessarily. I thought Peter Joback was going to be somebody that I didn't like. I saw him in the show just because I'm like tenor isn't my favorite vocal type, but it worked and I thought it was really good. So I think they just switched that up. But there's other stuff about Phantom. I don't want to drag it on too long. There's vocal dubbing that doesn't make sense with Minnie
True.
Driver. Just cast people. I mean, vocal dubbing was super popular if we go back and talk about some of the older shows, which
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we'll end up talking about it. Yeah.
but in something that came out in like 2003, and I don't get it.
I don't get it now. I don't. Yeah.
Let's see, do we have a good one to talk about? What do you want to?
I was gonna say we probably will have to talk about Hairspray and maybe Grease. But did you watch? Did you watch Grease?
I did.
Seen those? Okay. Okay.
I've
So we can talk
seen
about those.
both,
Yeah.
so I can tell you about that.
Cool. Okay. So well, maybe we should start with Grease actually.
Okay.
Grease is a very interesting musical because it's like I mean it's one of those that it sort of characterizes the 50s, right?
Mm-hmm.
In very specific ways. But even though it was not written in the 50s, obviously. So I think the farther away from the 50s we go, the more interesting the choices that are made in
It,
regards to yeah.
it's a show which a lot of people don't realize. I think we would be remiss to. It would be similar to Rocky Horror. People don't realize it is a show that they made a movie out of. It wasn't the
Yeah.
other way. A lot of people only know them as movies.
True.
Yeah.
Like,
Grease
you have
is
to
a
pause.
50s musical written in the
You have to
90s.
pause for a second. Here we go again. She thought she wanted to be in here. She decided she didn't.
Casey's just. The TV's not even on, dude. What are you looking at? She likes to watch TV, actually.
You can see things that you can't see.
True.
Okay, sorry.
So, Grease being a musical about the 50s written in the 70s. It's very 70s. There's this very 70s charm about it. I can say that.
Yeah, I think that depending on, I think like because of the success of the movie, I don't really okay, maybe this is not fair because I mean technically I saw it like a high school production of it, so that's kind of different. But I think the influence of the movie is very like it's like even when you're doing performing the musical version, like I think people think of the movie a lot.
Oh
it's
yeah,
one of those things where it's like the movie was so iconic, and that it really affects how people cast that musical. How and it's not necessarily like why would Sandy need to be like a light voice? I mean, like she actually makes sense for her to be a light voice, but like other things like I don't know the color of everyone's hair and stuff. Like people are always like,
yeah. Let's discuss the fact that Sandy is not Australian. They adapted that in the movie because apparently Olivia Newton-John can't do an accent.
Could not.
It's the Wonder Woman thing where Gal Gadot can't do a non-Israeli accent, which is fine. So they make everybody have an Israeli accent. And they just say that's what the Amazon sound like. But yes, it's not. There's things about this that drive me crazy. I saw the movie. I don't hate it. Actually, people think I really don't like it because I say I don't like Grease, but it's not horrible. You know, we have 40-year-olds playing somebody who's 16, but
Kaneki anyone?
So that's the thing I don't like. I think I'm musical wise. I think some things I just feel like there's no movie wise they don't really give anybody characterization a lot. There's not a lot for the supporting characters to do. So I think that's a little bit different. That's in the stage show. I think Kaneki has more to do in the musical than he does in the movie. He also sings Grease Lightning in the musical. I think the singing is a little better.
Yeah.
Which is just like, yeah, most of the time singing is better. And what I can't even remember is the ending of Grease the same as the ending like on stage as the movie?
I think there are some changes, but it's essentially the same thing. It's that same like we try to change for each other, but it's okay because.
No, I mean like
that I want.
when they drive off into with the car into the sky. What is going on? I still don't get it.
I actually don't know, but I don't remember. But it's so strange. It's one of those things where it's like it is what it is, but at the same time you can definitely criticize it.
Yeah, no, I
like, oh, you can't even. It's a product of its time, but that's cool and all. But all the gender stereotypes are still there.
Yeah,
very white also. A lot of these films are. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're shocked by Hairspray then. That actually addresses stuff.
Totally.
I haven't seen it live, so I can't tell you, but I've seen videos of live productions of it.
Okay.
And then I've seen that god awful NBC thing. I think it was on NBC, the live version. Not good. Watch the movie.
With Ariana Grande, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Watch the movie. I think the movie is perfectly cast. I don't have complaints with anybody in this. Anybody. I really don't. I mean, Hairspray is great. I think the issue I had with the live version with Ariana Grande, I mean, there were actors missing their cues. There was all that sort of stuff, which is like it's a live show.
Well,
yeah. So I'm like, I thought I think I prefer um, Jennifer Hudson as
Okay.
uh,
Um,
uh,
Motormouth maybe.
Motormouth
Then
than Queen Latifah, but I think
Okay.
Queen Latifah is good in this. Um, I feel like in the live version they dumbed down the racism, which doesn't work in Hairspray. Like the the thing that's great about Hairspray, I think too, is that and this is obviously my perspective talking on it, but they don't go out of their way to try to redeem the really racist characters in
No.
the show.
Right.
So the Von Tussles don't get redeemed.
Yeah, we all make fun of them loudly. That's
Yeah.
the whole point. Exactly.
Also, like, because I felt like my thing was I'm Penny's mom. What her racism specifically was dumbed down in the movie. It's like she gets locked in her room. They have to break her out. Like that's a whole point of that because like her mom is eminently racist and religious, like which somehow they go hand in hand in the world. Don't really know how, but yeah, no, like that is something that happens because it's important because then she gets with seaweed and
I
it's
see what
like
you mean. I see what you mean about I don't remember the details of how they did it in the live, but I can see that in my mind. I just think my issue is also, and I think this is why this NBC live Hairspray was possibly the worst of them. Besides, I'm pretty sure they did like Peter Pan and nobody saw it. But anyway, my issue is that the cast, although some of them are possibly good in those roles, but I think there was a lack of chemistry.
yep.
Like all of them were just mismatched. Like you have the I don't remember. I don't know. Is it Aaron Tveit, or was that for the Grease Live? I don't know. He played.
He was in Grease Live.
He was in Grease Live. Okay. So I don't remember who the person was who played Link. But like he and the Tracy did not really have chemistry, and then they just kind of threw Ariana Grande and I don't. It was just weird. Like you just had like a bunch of weird. Like they didn't make a cohesive casting decision for the main.
Not work.
4 or 5.
She did not work at Penny at all. No. There's my issue. I'm sorry. Penny has to be like pale.
They just did some weird. They just did really weird things altogether. I think they just knew they wanted to use Ariana Grande, and then they were like, "We'll make it work."
Can we talk about James Marsden in the movie? He's so good in that.
He's so good.
Courtney Collins. He should be thrown into more movie music.
The 2007 movie is so good because the cast somehow it all just fits together really well. I actually was gonna say, going back to the Morat Maybelle, I think that Queen Latifah is a little bit of a better actor. She's more experienced acting than Jennifer Hudson. But although I think Jennifer Hudson might be getting better as she continues on. But she's kind of I think Jennifer Hudson's a slightly stronger singer. She is much more.
Jennifer Hudson's and stuff because she's a very, very strong singer.
Exactly. Like, and that's not possible. So you cannot debate that. So I think that's why it works.
You can't debate that? People try to all the time.
Who are these people?
Did you know that Jennifer Hudson screams? Because belting is screaming.
Something about that feels offensive.
Yeah, she screams, but she's never gotten vocal notes.
Right. Okay.
But Adele has twice. So where are we going from there? Anyway.
Sounds like a dismissal of entire genres of music to me, but hey, right. You didn't hear it from me.
Speaking of Queen Latifah, let's talk about Chicago. Have you seen Chicago live?
I haven't, and I know people are going to hurt me, but you should talk about it because I know it's a really big deal.
I saw Chicago. That was the first Broadway show I saw. So, because I really love Chicago. And I preferred the movie. Yeah. The revival show is set up like it's very cabaret-ish. So we've both seen Cabaret. Yes. In the sense of like the new production, they have the band on stage and the actors work around them. Chicago has pretty much no set, which can or can't work. Particularly, I like production design, so I want to see sets. But it is set up like a cabaret. So just that being kept in mind. All the actors were great. I saw somebody like particularly a really famous Roxy, and now I can't remember who it was
Oh, in the stage version.
in the stage production.
Oh.
And like I saw somebody I there's like Chicago is just full of famous people. That's how they keep that show running, to be honest. It's like the longest running American musical, which is great. Chicago's a good show.
It is a good show.
The only thing I have against the movie is that one of the characters, the reporter, is supposed to be a a man in drag. Okay. And in the movie, they just make that character a woman.
Interesting.
I don't know why they did it that way. That kind of rose in the wrong way. Granted, in the movie, the character is played by Christine Baranski. Christine Baranski is amazing. She's been in so many of these movie musicals.
That's probably why they changed it.
She keeps it out of the park every time.
Okay.
But I do prefer the movie because the movie's very good. If you're looking for a great, I feel like Hairspray and Chicago are great movie musical adaptations.
Totally.
So those
and I think that they're gonna stand the test of time as well.
Right. When we started talking about this, I did not realize how many movie musicals. So many. I'm like, oh my god, we could talk about this one, and then we could talk about this one. Should we talk about something we were in? that
Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Into the Woods.
Our production was not great. The movie was better than our production, I can tell you that. But
for very specific reasons, yeah. Into the Woods is it's sort of a whole different genre as well than these other ones. I think a lot of these that we've mentioned are kind of like in the realism side of musicals, which I know you could argue with what even is that, because a musical in essentially is never really realistic. It's always got some kind of element of fantasy, which is why you have a fourth wall on this whole thing. But Into the Woods is very much fantasy, and so I think that can lend itself to adaptation, or it can harm adaptation, as it was in our case. Yeah. What do you think about the casting of? Now I just can't stop thinking about our performance. I don't want to do that anymore. But what did you think about the movie?
The casting of who? In general?
In general, because I mean, you're familiar with you've seen the original version with Bernadette Peters like around.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't hold up to the original cast.
Yeah.
I don't think so I have some feelings about certain characters over others. Cinderella's horribly cast. Horribly cast.
Anna Kendrick, right?
Yes. No, not good.
Strange choice to me.
Baker's wife, fine. People hate James Corden. I like James Corden.
He's good in it.
I think I feel certain ways about Emily Blunt. I don't think she's a strong singer, but looking back at the original production, she's not a strong singer either. So I think that character doesn't need to be. Princes are cast great.
Agreed.
Agony is the best part of that. So I'd say don't even watch this movie. Just go on YouTube and type in Agony Into the Woods and watch the Chris Pine version, because it's so good. I wish they had the second part of Agony because it's that good.
Yeah.
Rapunzel, I don't really remember. She's fine. The Cinderella's family, they're fine. Christine Baranski is the stepmother. She's good.
Yeah, no, I think the step families cast well.
Yeah. It works because in the movie, I think you need to do this, where they separated the wolf and the prince, because in the stage show they're the same character. They're the same, not the same character, the same person. Johnny Depp, I have personal feelings about, but he's fine. He's the ever creeping. He's very creepy, so it works.
He's not a singer.
Yet I think he works and I think he works in Sweeney Todd too, which we can talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. So that works.
But the witch, though.
I don't think Meryl Streep works. And I know that is a very controversial opinion, but I don't think she works.
We have a couple of controversial things in here. I don't. It's not that her performance is bad. It's not that anything that she did is on a technical level like not adequate or anything like that. I mean, she's a great performer. She's got an amazing career. I just think maybe she wasn't a perfect fit, vocally, at least.
Yeah.
I think it's like everything else is kind of subjective, but arguably you could say like, is she a strong enough singer for this in comparison to?
Yeah, I remember Last Midnight not being good. I just remember that. I don't know what this is saying. I don't remember the Witch's Rap at all.
Well, there you go. I don't remember either. I think it was a cappella. That could be wrong. Check me on that. Somebody's gonna check me on that. But yeah.
They cut out the narrator completely.
That's true.
Which really gets you like what's going on in this. It really is hard. I can see why they do it. It was just very jarring comparing to the original show. So it's very different. They did their thing, and it was very good.
It was parts of it were good.
Yes.
It's entertaining. Let me say that I was entertained. I enjoyed parts of it. I think it's one of those things. It's like what you were saying with something else. If someone watches it for the first time, having never seen Into the Woods, they might really really like it. Right. And they probably could still like it even if they see another version of it. But I think it's not the foundations of Into the Woods, which is fine.
Yeah. Red and Jack were good too. I just completely forgot that characters existed. Mm-hmm. We remember the Step Family because we were the Step Family. So.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah. What should we? I feel like we should maybe do one more and then wrap up. What should be the big finale? Movie musical.
What are we missing?
We didn't even talk about anything Golden Age because I feel like that stuff is just.
I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah. I guess we could have talked about West Side Story. We could have talked about Carousel, and there's a lot. There's a lot of them actually. I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
God, there's stuff that's really.
It would have to be a really big. We would have to be able to really talk about it, which I don't know.
What are we missing? Let me look up something real quick. So find a big finale one.
Same. Okay, hang on. Oh, Mamma Mia. But I didn't see the stage.
I auditioned to be in it, but I didn't get in. Somehow.
Honestly.
List. I want to see Broadway adaptations. Why is that too?
That's a hard word.
A lot of these I haven't seen live. Oh, I hate.
Once, I forgot. No, Once is the movie before the musical.
Yeah, it's so. Weird. Should we talk about?
There's so many.
Rent. Should we talk about Rent or Dreamgirls?
We should talk about Rent. Yes, we should talk about Rent. I think Rent is a very important one.
Rent's
that's formative for a lot of.
Rent's the finale.
Rent's the finale.
This is one of the other first movie musicals I've seen. Rent is the funniest thing that one of our former professors has ever said is that Rent is the Law and Order of musicals. So if you're in musical theater, you're going to be in Rent at some point, which I would love.
Oh, that's true.
I would love to be in Rent.
That's a good point.
I would love it.
I would love that also. Let's be in Rent.
People don't like this movie. I think it's great.
I don't know why people don't like it. They just probably don't like the musical. I don't.
No. I never used to get this because I watched this in middle school, and the whole the whole thing with Rent and like the opening that they're not going to pay rent and all this sort of stuff. And
why aren't they paying?
I'm like, what's wrong with this? Like, what are they doing? Because it's like, yeah, no, I get it now.
Yeah, more than ever.
Yeah, it's horrifying. I think this is well cast. Mm-hmm. Most of the actors were in the show, minus think Rosario
Sorry,
Dawson
Dawson was not.
and maybe
Idina
uh,
was not.
who?
Idina Menzel, was she in the? Was she
No,
in the
she was
original?
Maureen.
Okay.
She was the original Maureen, I think.
Yeah, no, you might be right. Adam Pascal was. I don't know.
Yeah, we could talk about the story wise, like, but we're not talking about that. I mean, because when you look back, Roger and Mimi are very creepy, and there seems to be something
Toxic.
going on there.
Like what?
I mean, she's like young. She's like young,
She's like 18, right?
19.
Yeah.
But in the song where you're like flirting with her and like she's coming on to you, do you really want to say the lines of "you look like you're 16"?
Yeah, nothing sexier than looking like you're not even an adult yet.
Child, like, yikes.
Fire.
But that's beside the point.
Or maybe it is the point. No,
I feel like this show is Rent is just so important, and I think Rent got. I don't know if Rent would be as big as it is if Jonathan Larson, the writer, had not died before it went on. Because Tick Tick Boom isn't very popular, although Tick Tick Boom is getting a adaptation coming out this year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's directing it. People don't like him either.
We
want to be in a video.
Hello.
She's like rolling around on the bed, so she wants to be in the video.
My neighbor's doing some fun things upstairs. Rent. I think it sort of blows my mind when I think of how popular it is, considering so much of the content. And I know that it seems weird to say it in like 2021, but it's because it's strikingly diverse, and it's not like incredibly radical necessarily, but it is progressive, and it showcases people who I feel like were not previously showcased in the area of film without being like either romanticized or fetishized or something like that. Like, you know, showing like a trans drag character, and
right.
Well, sometimes it depends if people don't. Depending on how it's directed, she's not always trans.
Yeah, Angel's interesting because Angel uses both sets of pronouns,
right?
And we know that she at least we know that Angel is at least a drag queen.
Yeah,
but I like she's referred to as drag queen, but that's I think true. Like it's kind of important at her funeral that she's spoiler that she's spoken as with she her. Yeah. So exactly. I think she is supposed to be trans. In a lot of productions she is. So I think too that it's like it is extremely diverse. Like there is, although it's not there's a bisexual character. It's not explicitly stated, but Joanna's a lesbian because we don't use the word lesbian in everything.
I don't think people were using it as often.
Like the one of the leads is a Jewish character. And I think it's like, yeah, two of the roommates are both two white dudes. However, like I think it has a pretty big ensemble cast that it's like it's not even like they're the main characters. So I think like the diversity ends up it's not like, oh well, we have all these diverse side characters, but it's like they're all
what often happens. I think like instead it feels like all of their lives are explored as intimately as possible within the time frame, I would say.
Yeah, I think and this is like any controversy over Rosario Dawson aside, because this came out like 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, but I think for the most part, it's pretty good. My mom used to hate La Vie Boheme because of just like, it's a raunchy song, and I used to sing it when I was like 12.
I'll sing that.
She's like, do you know what this means? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I think like I can understand why people might not, either they don't love the music or I think some people's critiques or criticisms, I should say, are that it's kind of got a sort of trauma, like a sort of porn vibe, not kind of, not, you know, by which I mean like it sort of is, it ultimately is about sort of like suffering. But I guess I think that's kind of the point, as opposed to being um extra or
Right.
you
It's a
know
show.
like it's
It's a
essential
show
to the
about
plot.
poor people
It's about a
living
I
during
know.
AIDS crisis.
So you can't it's yeah, it's not a dishonest portrayal is my thing. Some people are just sort of like, well, if you love Rent but you don't live the life of Rent, there's something kind of messed up about it. But I'm also like, maybe it introduces people to these stories and to this. I mean, we don't really talk a lot about the AIDS crisis anymore because, which is strange because there's still people completely suffering with AIDS and HIV, and have very little support. But its portrayal of that, as well as all the other things it talks about, I mean, that's super important for people to see,
Right.
And to keep talking about.
Yes.
That's the ultimate thing.
We should. And people with HIV and AIDS are one of the most vulnerable groups for COVID-19. Yet they were shoved into phase 1C.
Ooh.
So, yep. If you want to talk about how the government still doesn't care about people who are immunocompromised or people with AIDS, specifically people with AIDS, because they let people die. They still don't care. So, yeah, please do some research on that. I'm gonna have to wrap it up because I have to go to my full-time job.
You do.
I hate it here.
Capitalism.
Everyone just subscribe to me so that I can do this as my job.
Yeah.
Or cast me in a show. If I could stop getting emails during this video, that would be great. So, yeah.
That's Mamma Mia emailing you back. Mamma Mia is a sentient being saying.
No, I wish it was. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is probably a super long video, but that's fine. I love to watch these long videos like this. And Olivia, anything you want to share before I let you go?
Well, thank you for having me. I am a singer and actor. Sometimes I post things, sometimes I don't. But if you are interested in seeing anything that I'm up to, you can follow me on Instagram at living like, so it's LIV underscore ING underscore LIKE underscore. That's so
I'll put it on the
yes,
screen.
You do that, and I'm out here. I'll be around.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Olivia, for being here. And hopefully they make lots of great movie musicals in the future. We got some coming out soon this year. We'll see how In the Heights, West Side Story, Dear Evan Hansen, Matilda, how all those are.
We'll see.
Right? So we'll see you in the next one, or I'll see you. So Olivia won't be here. I love you. Bye. Yeah. How do I stop recording?